Welcome to Hungry Dads, your guided tour through the delicate and often overwhelming balancing act between food indulgences and social acceptance. And now, as always, here are your hosts, Rod Budget and Hugh Gallen.
Hello and welcome to episode 33 of Hungry Dads. I'm Rod Budget.
I'm Hugh Gallen.
And Hugh, tonight we're going to tackle a very important subject that we haven't talked a lot about, and that is condiments. And condiment is a word that's it's hard to define even. If you go online, if you go to a dictionary and look up condiment, the best definition that I can get and the most consistent is just something that is used to enhance the flavor of food, which obviously is extremely broad. That could be a herb, a spice, salt is a condiment, and technically that's right. But for the sake of tonight, I think we're focusing on what people generally consider condiments, and for whatever reason, liquid condiments seem to have made it into the mainstream more so than referring to an herb or a spice as a condiment. It's a big topic, it's an interesting topic, and Hugh Gallen has made a handy-dandy chart that he's going to talk about a little bit about condiments and how they relate to each and every one of us.
I have. So we talk about condiments, and as you said, tonight I think we're sticking to sauces as a condiment. There's a lot of things we can talk about when it comes to condiments, but let's talk about sauces first and foremost tonight. What I'm going to get into was inspired by me being on the internet and seeing these quizzes. I don't know if you've seen these kind of quizzes, maybe on Facebook or online. Which Sex and the City girl are you? Are you a Samantha or that's the only one I know, a Caroline or whichever? That's Caroline in the City, which is that old Leah Thompson show. Sex and the City is a whole other thing. Anyway, which Muppet are you? Which Looney Tunes character are you? There's these quizzes, and people seem to have a lot of fun with them, and I've taken a few of them and mostly found them to be pretty silly and senseless and not actually display any truth, but fun nonetheless. And it occurred to me I could put one together for Hungry Dads, and I decided to put together a condiment quiz. Which condiment are you?
Wow, all right.
And inspired by these silly quizzes, I decided I'd make my own silly quiz. As I created it, I was doing some research of the most popular condiments and thinking about the different qualities of these condiments, and gotta be honest, I think I hit on something. It turned from a joke into what I'm gonna call some real psychology and some real science here.
Wow, okay.
I identified 7 condiments, and I think I've identified 7 distinct personalities along a spectrum that apply to these condiments and might just apply to you too. So with that, let me just get started with one end of the spectrum of the condiment personality quiz, and I'll start kind of on the more extroverted ends of things, and as I go along you'll start to see where the spectrum goes. But first off, I'm going to read a description, and Rod, you think about now and then as I go forward if this applies to you or anyone you might know. You are immensely well liked, even if you aren't as universally compatible as some others. You sometimes consider yourself fancy, but also know that you're welcome and comfortable almost anywhere, from fast food to fine dining. And children love you. If this sounds like you might be a ketchup.
Wow, I don't think I'm a ketchup. I'm not universally loved, I don't think. I think I'm liked a little bit. Children like me, but I don't know if they love me. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think that, the ketchup's personality is kind of that person that everyone really enjoys having around, maybe isn't the most dignified or most respected, but on the other hand can really fit in anywhere. You do see your ketchups at fast food restaurants, but honestly, even if you go to a nice restaurant, you can get ketchup. It's not unique to any ethnic food or type. It's pretty ubiquitous and it's pretty popular, although it can be considered a little bit lowbrow, despite the fact that it's considered quote-unquote fancy.
It's kind of the frat boy in the movies who kind of hangs around with the popular guys, and he's kind of fat and does like push-ups with bikini girls on his back in the kiddie pool. That's kind of what I'm picturing with ketchup.
Yeah, ketchup might be kind of a lowest common denominator. And it's on this end of the spectrum because it is amongst the most popular condiments and it's the most universally known. But as I mentioned, it's not that compatible with other condiments, which you'll see in a minute what I mean by that.
Okay.
The next condiment sounds like this. You may not be the talk of the town, but in a quiet and dignified way, you are very popular, maybe even more so than a ketchup. Part of your charm is your flexibility. You could set your temperament from mild, intense, or fiery to meet the tastes and preferences of those around you. You're a crowd pleaser, and people get excited when they see you at an event. If this sounds like you might be a salsa. Now, salsa might be a surprising choice amongst the condiment category, but it actually is arguably the most popular condiment in America right now. It's appreciated for its strong flavor and its healthy attributes. It's not as fattening or as sugary as many others. It can come in a variety of temperaments, flavors, as we said, mild or hot. And let's face it, people like to see salsa at a party. So I think those could all describe a certain person one of us may know. Rod, again, I'll ask you, do you think you're a salsa?
I don't think I'm quite a salsa. I think I can set my temperament, based on the crowd I'm around, based on the social scene. But I don't know if I'm such a crowd pleaser that when people see me, they're just happy to see me all the time. I'm flexible, I'm malleable in my personality, but I don't know if I'm a huge crowd pleaser to everybody all the time. And I think salsa does make perfect sense in the condiment category. And a little later in the show, I'll put some hard numbers behind that and show you that, as you alluded to, salsa is very popular.
Another one on the end of the spectrum of popular and well-liked is this condiment. You're very popular and have the ability to mix well with other types. A little bit of you goes a long way, so be careful. As popular and compatible as you are, you often run the risk of laying it on too thick. If this sounds like you, then you are a mayonnaise.
That would be a good insult. You are a mayonnaise.
Yeah, and I think mayonnaise gets a little bit of a bad rap because it's considered kind of this universally unhealthy condiment. But there's a couple of real truths about a mayonnaise. Number one, as I've said, compared to the other two on this end of the kind of popular spectrum, it really is compatible with other condiments. You see it on the same sandwich as a ketchup and a mustard.
Yep.
And it tends to go well with a lot of other things. But it is one of those where a little bit goes a long way. I've known people like this. A very good friend of mine, a little bit of him goes a long way. I really like him a lot, but only in small doses, if I know what's good for me.
I think we all know someone like that. And that's a good point about mayonnaise. People will go nuts with the mustard on a hot dog and really slather it, but you rarely see someone just gob mayonnaise upon mayonnaise on like a sandwich or a hot dog or something like that.
Or a salsa. I mean, the more you can pile onto your chip, the better. But a mayonnaise, too much of it is going to ruin the sandwich. Up next is this condiment. You're comfortable conveying a wide range of emotions. You can be sweet as honey or offer up a sharp kick depending on the situation. Some consider you overpowering. You aren't for everyone, but that's okay with you. Those who like you tend to like you a lot. If this describes you, then you might be mustard.
Yeah, I'm not mustard. I don't think people like me a lot. I don't think I'm that polarizing. I don't think I'm that spicy. Mustard's a little out there. I like mustard a lot, but I'm not mustard.
And I think that you bring up a good point. This isn't a quiz of your favorite condiment or the one you like the most. It's the one with which you might most identify based on your personality. And I think every condiment has a personality, and mustard is no exception.
Well, I'm getting a little worried at this point because I'm passing on all these.
Well, there's still 3 more after this. Let's see if you have a spirit condiment. I think you do. Let's find out. Mustard, like salsa, has these different versions it can take on. Honey mustard is just as much mustard as spicy mustard, as poupon mustard, as yellow mustard, and they all are quite different, but all fall under the same umbrella of mustard. And I think this is a nice category for a lot of people. In fact, we put this test up on our site, and I've seen more people respond that they are mustard than any other type, which leads me to believe that the test may skew a little mustard, and I'm going to revisit some of the questions that lead to these results in the coming weeks and months. This is a beta test, but in the end, a lot of people do identify with this mustard for a couple reasons. I'm not going to go through the whole questioning phase of the test. You can see that on www.hungrydads.com. But a few of the questions that lead to these conclusions are what kind of social group you keep, a large group or a smaller group, and how you maintain your basic disposition. Are you flexible? Do you adapt yourself to a situation? And I think, like people, these condiments have the ability to do that. And mustard is kind of the middle of the road of the spectrum. And so a lot of people did identify with mustard as the quiz is structured. So we're through 4 of the 7 condiments. Up next is this condiment. Your greatest asset is your ability to step outside of your comfort zone. You can display a variety of styles. Your greatest trait is that you're bold, sometimes sweet, and able to cover anything that life puts on your plate. If this sounds like you might be a barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauce is one of my favorite in this category, not just because I enjoy it, because barbecue sauce has this interesting, unique trait of having transcended barbecue itself. It's become a ubiquitous condiment for burgers, fries, and even pizza. And It comes in a variety of styles. I think it's one of the more versatile sauces on this list. And I think a person can identify with that, being able to adapt or be comfortable in a number of different scenarios.
Yeah, I'm not bold. I'm not adaptable. I'm not comfortable in different scenarios. I am the anti-barbecue sauce, even though, again, I find it delicious. I only have 2 chances left. I don't know.
I know. In the end, if you don't identify with any of these, Rod, we'll give you the quiz and see where you most land. Up next, even though you aren't quite as adaptable as barbecue sauce, you do sometimes try stepping outside of your comfort zone. But you know where your core strengths are, even if not everyone agrees. Similar to mustard, you may not be universally beloved, but your friends are devoted and will defend you to the end of the earth against detractors, despite the controversy you sometimes bring. If this sounds like you might be steak sauce.
I think I might be steak sauce. Steak sauce, I don't think I stir up a lot of controversy and I don't need to be defended, but I think my friends would defend me if needed. So I am steak sauce.
Yeah, and the reason steak sauce has a personality of its own is because it is the subject of a lot of conversation, and maybe controversy is too strong of a word, but people like to talk about steak sauce, what they like about it, where they like to have it. We've had this conversation. I think we've pretty much landed, or I shouldn't say you've landed on the idea that steak sauce isn't really best on steaks. It's good on a burger, it might be good with other things, and some people, our own Johnny Prime, our good friend who we've heard in episodes 31 and 32, considers steak sauce a sin on steak, but not on other things. So it's one of those that not everybody loves, but those who like it will defend it. I happen to be a steak sauce defender. I'm also a Rod Budget defender. So
there you go. I also feel like people are talking about me behind my back a lot, so I think that's probably true. I feel even more so now. Yes,
well, let it be known that you have detractors, and I have had to defend you to the end of the earth against them, and I will continue to. Look, I'm not going to lie. After those 2 episodes with Johnny Prime, the fan mail came in. They want you replaced, but I'm not going to let it happen.
I can't blame them. Johnny Prime knows his stuff. He's a professional. We're a couple of hacks over here.
So we started with ketchup. We worked our way through salsa, mayonnaise, mustard, barbecue sauce, and steak sauce. And now we're to our 7th and last condiment personality. And here it is. You're focused and won't pretend to be something you're not. Always mindful to not spread yourself too thin. You tend to do just 1 or 2 things, but you do them extremely well. You don't blend in easily or naturally with the other types, but you are most compatible with a mustard and sometimes barbecue sauce. As is the case with a good marinade, you need to spend quite a bit of time to get comfortable and meld with others. If this sounds like you, then you are soy sauce.
Yeah. I think I'm not soy sauce, although I lean towards it. It might be 2nd or 3rd, but I think I'm comfortable with my steak sauce selection, and I think that's a good description of soy sauce. You really hit it on the head.
Yeah, soy sauce it's kind of a unitasker. It doesn't work in too many ways. It works with Asian foods. It works potentially as part of a marinade with red meats, but it's not used across the board on a lot of different things. But what it does very well. It's kind of your extreme introvert of the condiment. On the opposite end being your ketchup, who's kind of out there everywhere, known by everybody, loved by everybody, if not as respected as the more dignified soy sauce.
Right. Now, this is great psychoanalysis. I think it's important work. I think we'll keep refining it. Please check it out, www.hungrydads.com. Take the quiz. I'm glad that I'm steak sauce. I'm pleased with that. It's kind of a manly condiment, It's associated with steak and grilling. Even though it's somewhat controversial, I think I made the right decision. Hungry Dads. So whereas Hugh talked to us about psychology and got a little in depth with some of the social aspects of condiments, I want to come with some hard data. And I've researched the top selling condiments in the United States in 2013. This is gross sales in US dollars just in the United States. I found this very, very interesting. The top 7 condiments are the same 7 that we used in the personality quiz. So we're talking about those 7. Hugh Gallen, do you care to venture what is the top selling condiment in the United States by dollars? And I will say that this is both direct-to-consumer sales and business-to-business sales, so selling the condiments to restaurants and industries and things like that.
I feel like I should know this because I did do my research before I created this quiz. However, popular opinion and actual data might vary. So The audience is going to join my thought process and come to the conclusion as I do. Instinctually, you say ketchup. Everybody knows ketchup. Everybody loves ketchup. How could ketchup not be the most popular condiment in America? Then again, I remember hearing at one point, I think it was news stories, that salsa has overtaken ketchup. America is health obsessed and they want more healthy condiments, and salsa has a lot of bang for its buck. So then I say, maybe salsa is the most popular. But then I tend to think that America really just loves its mayonnaise. Counterpoint to America wanting its healthy salsa, there might be more Americans who want that fattening mayonnaise. I wish I had more faith in America, but I'm going to go with the pessimistic, unhealthy choice. Americans love mayonnaise more than anything else.
Your lack of faith in America has paid off. Mayonnaise is by far the largest selling condiment.
Wow.
$6 billion worth in 2013, which doubles the second place condiment. So mayonnaise is the runaway winner.
Wow. Wow. That's more
It
than I
surprised
thought.
me that it was such a runaway, so I did a little bit more research, and it's largely due to the fact that it's used so much in cooking and recipes. A lot of stuff calls for mayonnaise. Things like potato salad. I believe there's a Jell-O mold with a Miracle Whip topping. I should point out that this is just strictly mayonnaise too, so when you add Miracle Whip in, it really blows everything away.
On the other hand, I know there are people who simply despise mayonnaise, who can appreciate a good sauce and a good condiment, but the use of mayonnaise, kind of like some people have this visceral reaction to butter in large quantities or even mild quantities. Mrs. Gallen being one of those people, the simple use of mayonnaise kind of skeeves her out right off the bat.
It's heavy. It's dense.
It's heavy. It's dense. She would call it gloppy.
It is gloppy, I'll agree.
And the gloppy nature of it can really put her off. It tastes fantastic, but it pretty much puts her off of mayonnaise entirely, to the point where my use of it has to be pretty controlled in front of her. If I make a sandwich with mayonnaise on it and the mayonnaise squirts out the side in any way, she will become upset, noticeably upset, and I have to turn my sandwich away from her, both to spare her and also simply out of shame, because then I feel like I'm just eating globs of mayonnaise. And
that is a problem with mayonnaise, is when you compress the sandwich or burger, it will kind of spew out the side and curl up a little bit, and even potentially drip down the side if you've got way too much.
So did your research reveal a full ranking, other condiments in, second, third place?
It did. I don't want to make you guess all of them, but do you want to take a guess at second place? And then I'll just point out some of the other things that I found were interesting.
We're talking in America. I'm going to go with ketchup as number 2.
That's right. Ketchup's number 2.
Yeah.
No big shock there.
Okay.
At 3 billion, so again, half of mayo is ketchup in second
Wow, that's
place,
a big margin.
Yeah, that
That's
really
a big
impressed
margin.
me. The other things I found kind of surprising and interesting, number 3 is soy sauce, which I didn't really research. I don't know, maybe there are so many Asian restaurants that they're buying a lot of soy sauce. And as you said, it's used in marinades a lot, so...
Yeah, I think it's used for cooking probably more than a lot of the others, and when you start using it for cooking, the amount of it you might use becomes increased. Soy sauce could almost be a replacement for salt in a lot of things. I am surprised that it comes in at number 3.
Yeah, it's pretty high. Number 4 is barbecue sauce, which kind of surprised me a little bit, but not greatly. It's kind of middle of the road, but it's still above hot sauce / salsa. Salsa's included in that, which is the fastest growing category in America. So I think that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
It's getting very close to barbecue sauce and soy sauce. Those 3 are pretty close together, so it'll probably be number 3 within the next few years because it is growing very quickly.
So its growth is what's really impressive, not so much its share, but it's growing fast. Okay, got it.
And the next thing that I found kind of surprising was towards the bottom here is mustard. Thinking about it, it's not used in cooking too much. It's not used in large quantities. I think that might be a key. It's a pretty powerful flavor, so you're just using a ribbon usually on a hot dog or a little daub or 2 on a sandwich. There are a lot of different kinds of mustard, so I thought maybe that would help it out, but it's down there.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the amount you need. So, think about, I don't know what your refrigerator condiment rotation is like, but our jar of mustard tends to last quite a while because it doesn't get used in the same quantity. You look at a barbecue sauce and a ketchup, those are sugar-based. They're very delicious. You can kind of use a lot of them and scoop them up on your fries or slather them on your burger, but a mustard sharp taste, you're not gonna, it doesn't have that sweetness. You're not gonna use it up quite as quickly.
You can eat a spoonful of barbecue sauce and enjoy it almost, and a spoonful of mustard is just going to be tough to swallow, literally.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah. So I guess its staying power, its strong flavor, is its greatest detriment to sales.
And then coming in seventh is steak sauce, which didn't surprise me greatly. I think maybe it speaks to the fact that it has a stigma with a lot of steak lovers. And it also speaks to the fact that when I said that it should become a hamburger mainstream topping, you immediately said it's a pipe dream. And I think this backs that up. I think at this point in time, it is still a pipe dream.
Hungry Dads.
So Rod, to wrap things up tonight, I want to do not so much taste test, but a flavor experiment. I have Doritos Roulette. It is a bag of Doritos, and on the front it says, "Attention, some chips are very hot." On the back it describes, "Most chips are the Doritos nacho cheese flavor you love, but there's a hot chip in every handful. Do you dare eat another and risk getting burned?"
What a great idea. Wow. I like how they say the nacho cheese flavor that you love. I think it implies that the hot chips are just terrible. They didn't say that you're going to hate them, but they're pretty much implying that.
Do you think, just by look, if I open the bag and I take out all the chips, do you think I can parse out the hot ones from a visual inspection?
That's an interesting question and an interesting experiment. I'm going to say no, because I think the spice flavor is going to be very similar in color to the Doritos cheese color. I'm picturing reddish orange, and I don't think they'll need to use more than the normal cheese flavored. The dust, I don't think they need to increase the dust. I think they can make it spicy enough. I think they want it to be a fair game. I think they want it to be as fair as possible. I don't think they want these teenagers to be able to tell when they're sitting around with their friends playing video games, and they'll be like, "This is lame, I can see this one." I have faith in Doritos. I think it's a good idea, and I hope you can't tell the difference.
How important was it to them to keep the game of roulette realistic and interesting?
I think they want it to be as intriguing as possible, so people will enjoy it and go back and buy more roulette bags.
Yeah, the only reason I think they might not have bothered so hard is because the stakes are pretty low in the end.
Or if your mouth is on fire in the next 30 minutes, you're going to be taking that back. I just have one more question. There's no indication anywhere on what percentage of the chips are hot versus not.
It says on the back, there's a hot chip in every handful.
Okay.
So a handful is, I don't know, 6, 7. Another hint. So on the bag, there's a picture, and it has a little roulette wheel with chips around it. There are 7 chips, and 2 of the 7 are on fire. I'm going to create 2 piles here. When I'm going to open the bag, I'm going to create 2 piles. I don't expect the piles to be 50-50.
This is interesting. Tear it open. I can't wait.
I'm just going to dump them all out. Okay. Well, first inspection, there's nothing obvious. Although, now I'm pretty familiar with Doritos, and I think I see red specks on it. So now as I'm looking, I'm starting to see more red spots than I thought.
They all have red spots. Are you feeling dizzy? Are you ill right now? You're seeing red spots in front of your eyes.
But maybe the number of red spots will make a difference. Okay, so here's one that has very few red spots on it. And you'd think once they're mixed in the bag, even the non-hot ones would have to get a little bit of the hot dusting on them.
So based just on your initial reaction here, it seems to me that it's not obvious, like right off the bat.
Yes, it's not obvious. I have little confidence.
This is great. Good job, Doritos.
The thing is, most of them, pretty much all of them, have the red spots. So I'm thinking either the red spots denote the non-spicy ones, which would be weird, or the red spots are the spice, but then they have a dummy red spot to put on your normal ones. I am having little luck. All right. I don't know, because, look, the 2 sets obviously did they come out of different ovens?
They were probably baked in the same oven, and then they just go on different conveyor belts for the sprinkle shower. Although, if they're trying to trick everybody, maybe.
Well, and that is the question, is how far did they go to trick? I've got a small bag of Doritos Roulette spread out on my desk right now. I'm mostly sensing standard Doritos smell. I'm not getting a spiciness.
You're not overpowered by spice.
Rather than making 2 piles, I'm going to select 2 chips. I'm going to consider one a distinctly hot chip and one a distinctly not hot chip. Right. And I'm going to bite into the one that I think is hot first.
That's where it gets interesting.
And take it from there.
I don't know whether I want to root for you to be wrong or root for you to bite into the hot chip.
Well, the only way it gets really interesting if these are like habanero hot. Like that would be true roulette.
I would think they have to be pretty hot to make it intriguing.
I don't think they're going to make it that hot. They've got lawyers. I see one here that has a large amount of orange on it. I'm going to take that as a non-spicy one. I see one here with a lot of red spots on it. I'm going to take it as a spicy one. I'm not going to do a sniff at this point. I'm just going to crunch in.
Which one are you going to ingest first?
I was going to dive right in with what I think is a spicy one.
Okay.
All right, let's just go hardcore. Ready?
Here we go.
That's a standard Dorito.
Oh, wow. Doritos.
Yeah, that is the
Sneaky.
That's the nacho cheese taste I love. But it's got a twinge to it.
Yeah, it rubbed off.
It's got a hot twinge because it's rubbed off. No doubt about it. If this is a spicy one, then the spicy ones are very mild.
Yeah, I hope that's a rub off, which isn't great either, but you want it to be a really hot chip.
And now, I'm just going to start munching away
Just
here.
start eating. Yeah.
Until I identify what I'm pretty sure is a hot one. Standard Dorito.
I'm watching Hugh's face intently. I hope smoke comes out of his ears. Maybe hot.
That was a hot one.
Yeah.
Not intensely hot, but definitely, yeah. Okay, that was definitely a hot one. I should have looked at it closer before I ate it. That was definitely a hot one.
But not intensely hot.
Not like knocking my
spicy.
socks up. Now, the problem now, I don't know if you've experienced this, Rod, is once you've gotten something spicy in your mouth, anything salty just tends to set off your mouth as hot. So I question whether or not I'm going to be able to distinguish at this point. There was nothing distinct about that chip. I picked it up, I looked at it, it looked like all the rest. So first answer on Doritos Roulette is good job making it indistinguishable.
Fascinating. Yeah. Good job to the food scientists and chemicals and making delicious chemicals that cannot be seen by the naked eye.
The second observation is that even your standard nacho Dorito is going to have a little bit of spice on it just by nature sharing the space in the bag. Some of that spice rubbed off. That was obvious. Third observation is even the spicy one isn't knock your socks off spicy, which isn't surprising to me. It'd be more fun if it was habanero, jump up, run around the house hot, but that's not really it. Standard cheese.
So it does seem like about 1 out of every 5, 6, 7.
Standard cheese. You ready to watch me do this 24 more times?
Should be the entire episode. You eating a bag of chips.
Standard cheese.
Oh, wow.
There's a hot one. Definitely a hot one.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Now that one was. See, that one was spicier.
That one's more intense. All right.
Yeah, that one was more intense, and I guess the more of them you eat. Yeah. Ooh.
All right. Nice. I like
All
it.
right. Yeah, that one got me.
Now we're playing.
That one. Ooh. Yeah, that one was good.
Wow, he's struggling. This is good. After you said you didn't really think it was going to knock your socks
It
off.
really is like roulette. Now I'm actually taking a little bit more pause.
Scared. You're a little scared.
I'm like,
yeah.
all right, let's keep going.
Back to back would be great.
Standard cheese.
Hugh looks a little scared now.
I am. I'm a little gun shy.
So is your mouth still kind of on fire from the... Wow.
Standard cheese. So at this point, the taste buds are all off.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because I can't tell now if it's the new chip or just the original flavor intensifying. I think that was a new chip. I think that was a new hot one. My nose is starting to run. My throat's starting to burn.
Yeah, you're struggling. Hugh is squinting. His face is turning red.
Yeah, I'm like drooling a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun experiment, although...
It's a little scary.
I fear that it's a little... What do you think? You think that I guess the teenagers would go for this. High school age or not college age. A little goofy for a college kid.
I think like junior high to high school, I would have been really into this. Sitting around with your friends on a Friday night, playing video games or watching TV or hanging out. I think it's the age where they like go to 7-Eleven and like stock up on snacks, and somebody's gonna see this and be like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome."
Oh, I just got a hot one.
Somebody like a 40-year-old dad would never do it.
All right, well, that's Doritos Roulette. I don't even know if it's worth giving a review because there's no new taste sensation here. Ooh, all right.
Hugh has to go.
Yeah,
you really are turning red.
I need a glass of water.
Hugh is on fire.
Hungry Dads.
Visit our website at hungrydads.com. Follow us on Twitter at hungry_dads. This has been a Hungry Dads production.
On the back, it says, there's a hot chick. Hot chick.
Awesome. I'm gonna go buy some.